What if everything you thought about aging was wrong? What if your 70s, 80s, and even 90s didn't have to mean slowing down, fading out, or becoming invisible? What if those years could be your most vibrant, sharp, and purpose-filled? Welcome to Super Agers, an evidence-based approach to longevity, a groundbreaking journey into the science, habits, and mindset of people who don't just live longer, they live better. In this audiobook summary, we'll uncover the secrets of those rare individuals who remain mentally sharp, physically active, and emotionally strong well into old age. You'll learn how brain science, heart health, emotional intelligence, and even your sense of purpose can literally add years, not just to your life, but to the quality of your life. From neuroscience and genomics to diet, movement, social connection, and meaning, we'll explore how super agers are redefining what it means to grow older. This isn't just a guide to living longer. It's a blueprint for thriving at any age. So if you're ready to rethink aging, if you want to live fully, not just longer, then let's begin. Chapter 1. Who are the super agers? Imagine being 85 years old and still running laps around people half your age, not just physically but mentally too. You remember names with ease, solve complex problems without hesitation, and radiate the kind of energy people notice the moment you walk in. These aren't mythical figures or rare exceptions. These are super agers. Super agers are individuals typically in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who show cognitive and physical abilities on par with or even better than people decades younger. But it's not just about good genes. It's about defying the usual expectations of aging. While most older adults experience a steady decline in memory, attention, and energy, super agers maintain a sharp mind, emotional resilience, and an enviable quality of life. What sets them apart? First, their brains tell a different story. Scientific studies have shown that super agers have a thicker cortex, the outer layer of the brain responsible for critical thinking, decision-making, and memory. Their brain regions linked to attention and emotional regulation are more active and intact compared to their peers. But here's the kicker: their mental sharpness isn't the result of avoiding challenges. In fact, it's the opposite. Super agers often embrace difficult tasks, puzzles, conversations, learning new skills, and they persist through discomfort. Cognitive effort is their daily workout. They also tend to have strong social connections, not just casual acquaintances, but deep, emotionally rich relationships. This social engagement doesn't just feel good, it acts as a buffer against cognitive decline and even boosts brain function. And physically, many of them stay active, not with punishing workouts, but through consistent movement, walking, dancing, swimming, gardening, activities that keep the heart pumping and the body flexible. In short, super agers don't merely survive the aging process. They navigate it with purpose, engagement, and vitality. Their lives challenge the outdated idea that growing older must mean growing slower, weaker, or less joyful. They are living proof that aging isn't a descent. It can be a climb toward a higher peak of living. Chapter 2. The Science of Staying Young. Foundations of Longevity. Longevity isn't magic, it's measurable. Behind every super ager is a map of scientific principles drawn from the front lines of neuroscience, genomics, cardiology, and gerontology. This chapter takes you deep into the data, where biology meets possibility. Let's start with neuroscience, the study of the brain. Research reveals that super agers retain a greater volume of brain matter in regions responsible for memory and emotional control. Most notably, their anterior cingulate cortex, a region involved in attention and motivation, remains remarkably well preserved. While aging brains typically show atrophy, the super ager brain defies the odds, looking more like that of someone 30 years younger. moving to genomics, the science of genes and their expression. It turns out some superagers carry gene variants linked to resilience, genes that regulate inflammation, repair DNA, or promote cellular longevity. But here's the twist. Having the genes isn't enough. What matters even more is how those genes are expressed. This is the field of epigenetics, where lifestyle, environment, and mindset influence how your genetic blueprint plays out over time. Then there's cardiology, the heart of the matter, literally. A strong cardiovascular system pumps not just blood, but life to every cell in your body. Superagers tend to have flexible arteries, lower resting heart rates, and fewer signs of vascular disease. Why does this matter for the brain? Because what's good for the heart is almost always good for the mind. Rich blood flow fuels brain cells, reducing cognitive decline. And finally, gerontology, the broader study of aging itself. Here, scientists are mapping the long arc of human life and asking, why do some people thrive while others deteriorate? They've identified key biomarkers, measurable indicators of aging like telomere length, mitochondrial function, and inflammation levels. Super agers, it turns out, tend to age biologically slower than their chronological age would suggest. But what's truly revolutionizing our understanding of aging is technology. Wearable devices now track sleep quality, heart rate variability, and stress levels in real time. AI-powered tools sift through mountains of health data to detect early signs of decline or predict risk factors. Digital biomarkers, patterns from voice analysis, movement, and online behavior, offer clues about cognitive performance. And machine learning algorithms are identifying previously unseen links between habits and health span. Clinical studies, brain scans, and genome sequencing are no longer just for the lab. They're increasingly part of personalized wellness. We're entering an era where science doesn't just observe aging, it intervenes. In short, the foundation of longevity isn't built on guesswork. It's forged in labs, hospitals, and research centers across the globe. And every discovery brings us closer to unlocking the full potential of a longer, healthier life. Chapter 3. Brain Health. The mental edge of superagers. If the body is the vehicle, the brain is the driver, and superagers are behind the wheel well into their 80s and beyond, navigating life with clarity, memory, and focus. So, what's the secret? It starts with memory, specifically episodic memory, the kind that allows you to recall events, conversations, and details. Most people experience gradual memory loss with age. But superagers perform on memory tests as well as people in their 40s and 50s. Why? Their hippocampus, the brain's memory center, doesn't shrink as rapidly as it does in average agers. MRI scans show that superagers have thicker brain cortices, particularly in the anterior cingulate cortex, a region tied to attention, motivation, and emotional regulation. This area isn't just preserved. In some cases, it's more robust than that of younger adults. But this mental strength doesn't come from coasting through life. Superagers actively seek out cognitive challenges. They read, write, play instruments, speak multiple languages, and engage in mentally demanding hobbies. Their brains aren't just preserved, they're trained. One key insight: difficulty is good for the brain. When you wrestle with complex problems, your neurons adapt, forge new connections, and strengthen existing ones. This process, called neuroplasticity, doesn't stop at age 30. It can continue for life, especially if it's being actively stimulated. And don't overlook stress management. Chronic stress can literally shrink the brain. Superagers tend to have strong emotional regulation, practicing mindfulness, optimism, and emotional flexibility. They experience setbacks just like anyone else, but bounce back faster. This resilience isn't just psychological, it's neurological. Also crucial is sleep. During deep sleep, the brain clears out toxic proteins linked to Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Super Agers tend to prioritize high-quality rest, treating it not as a luxury, but as a non-negotiable part of brain maintenance. Finally, social interaction acts as brain fuel. Studies show that people who maintain strong relationships and engage in meaningful conversations activate multiple parts of the brain simultaneously. Language centers, memory hubs, emotional processing networks. In short, meaningful connection keeps the brain alive. Super Agers don't just preserve brain health, they nurture it, challenge it, and protect it with intention. Their message is clear. Brain aging isn't fixed. It's flexible. And the more you engage, the more you retain. Chapter 4. The Longevity Lifestyle, Habits that Shape Super Agers. There's no magic pill for aging well, but there is a daily formula. Super Agers don't just get lucky, they build their resilience through routine, intention, and consistency. Their lives are proof that how you live matters more than how old you are. Let's begin with movement. Not necessarily marathons or powerlifting, but consistent, intentional activity. Walking briskly, stretching in the morning, climbing stairs instead of taking the elevator. These simple acts stimulate circulation, strengthen muscles, and most importantly, keep the brain oxygen-rich and alert. Exercise, even moderate, increases the size of the hippocampus and releases brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, the brain's natural growth fertilizer. But it's not just about moving the body, it's about fueling it wisely. Super Agers tend to favor whole foods over processed ones. Their plates are often colorful, leafy greens, berries, healthy fats from olive oil and fish, and lean proteins. Diets rich in omega-3s, polyphenols, and fiber reduce inflammation and support heart and brain health. Many follow principles from the Mediterranean diet, which has been repeatedly linked to reduced cognitive decline and longer lifespan. And when they eat mindfully. No mindless snacking in front of the TV. Meals are often shared with others, slowly enjoyed and portion controlled. Super Agers understand that how you eat matters just as much as what you eat. Another key habit: lifelong learning. Super Agers remain curious. They read widely, explore new technologies, take up new hobbies, even late in life. It's not uncommon to find an 80-year-old Super Ager learning a new language or taking a virtual course. They view learning not as a phase of life, but a permanent state of being. They also embrace routine, but with variation. Their days are structured, yet they leave space for novelty. Whether it's trying a new route on their daily walk or experimenting with a new recipe, these micro-challenges stimulate neuroplasticity and keep the mind sharp. Then there's sleep. Super Agers value rest as a foundational pillar, not something to sacrifice in the name of productivity. They keep regular sleep schedules, protect their bedrooms from noise and light, and maintain bedtime rituals that signal the brain it's time to recharge. Lastly, many Super Agers maintain a sense of purpose, a reason to wake up every morning. Whether it's volunteering, mentoring, caring for grandchildren, or pursuing creative work, this sense of meaning acts as a natural antidepressant and stress buffer. Purpose-driven people live longer according to science, and Super Agers embody this truth. In the end, their lifestyle isn't extreme. It's not a 10-step biohacking program or a rigid routine. It's a series of sustainable, evidence-backed choices made consistently over time. Super Agers don't chase youth. They build vitality. Chapter 5. The Power of Connection. Social and Emotional Strengths of Super Agers. What keeps a person vibrant into their 80s and 90s isn't just a healthy body or a sharp mind. It's a connected heart. Super Agers don't just live long, They live well, largely because they cultivate strong social ties and emotional intelligence. These aren't extras, they're essentials. Let's start with relationships. Studies have consistently shown that social connection is one of the most powerful predictors of longevity. People who maintain close friendships and stay involved in community life live longer and suffer less from depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. Super Agers are not isolated. They engage, they show up, they listen. They don't need dozens of friends, but they do nurture a few deep, meaningful bonds. Whether it's a spouse, a sibling, or a lifelong friend, these relationships act like emotional armor, buffering against life's inevitable stresses. But connection isn't just about people. It's about emotional habits. Super Agers practice gratitude. They focus on what they have, not what they've lost. This mindset promotes resilience, lowers cortisol levels, and even improves immune function. They also display remarkable emotional regulation. While younger adults may react quickly to frustration or fear, Super Agers pause, reflect, reframe. This doesn't mean they're immune to hardship, but they respond to it with grace and flexibility. And perhaps, most importantly, they retain a strong sense of humor. Super Agers laugh often, even at themselves. Laughter triggers endorphin release, strengthens social bonds, and reduces stress hormones. It's not just a moment of joy, it's medicine. Super Agers also tend to be givers. They volunteer, mentor, and offer support freely. Studies show that helping others not only boosts emotional well-being, it can lower blood pressure, reduce chronic pain, and enhance cognitive function. It turns out, kindness is biologically good for you. They also maintain a sense of identity. They don't define themselves by their age. They see themselves as contributors, creators, explorers. They reject stereotypes of aging as decline, and by doing so, they age differently. In short, Super Agers live at the emotional center of their lives. They're engaged, expressive, and resilient. They don't just survive the later years, they thrive in them thanks to a life rich in connection, compassion, and meaning. Chapter 6. Nature or Nurture. The genetics versus environment debate in superaging. Is longevity written in your DNA or built by your daily habits? It's one of the most fascinating questions in aging research, and the answer is both empowering and surprising. Let's begin with genetics. There's no denying that some people win a kind of biological lottery. They inherit genes that protect their hearts, brains, and immune systems. Some have rare gene variants, like APOE2, associated with reduced Alzheimer's risk, or FOXO3, often found in centenarians, that seem to slow down the clock. But here's the twist. Genes are not destiny. In fact, most scientists agree that only about 20 to 25% of longevity is genetic. The rest? It's shaped by how we live, what we eat, how we move, how we sleep, and how we manage stress. And that's where epigenetics comes in. Epigenetics is the science of how your environment, everything from your diet and exercise to trauma and relationships, can affect how your genes behave. You're born with a set of genes, yes, but those genes can be turned on or off like light switches. Your lifestyle is the hand on the switch. For example, chronic stress can activate genes linked to inflammation, increasing the risk for heart disease, diabetes, and depression. But mindfulness, exercise, and social connection can turn on protective genes, enhancing repair and resilience. This means that even if you inherited some high-risk genes, you're not powerless. You can actually reprogram your body's response through your daily choices. Super Agers understand this, consciously or not. They don't rely on good genes. They take action. Their lives send powerful signals to their DNA. Stay sharp, stay strong, stay young. And here's something even more remarkable. Epigenetic changes can be passed on to future generations. That means the way you live today doesn't just affect your own health, it can ripple through your family line. So yes, biology matters, but behavior matters more. Super Agers don't wait for their genes to determine the outcome. They become the architects of their own longevity, building a lifestyle that enhances their biology no matter the hand they were dealt at birth. It's not fate, it's function, and that function is in your control. Chapter 7. The Digital Age of Aging. Technology's Role in Super Aging. Welcome to the future, where aging isn't just tracked but transformed. In the world of Super Agers, cutting-edge technology is no longer optional. It's becoming a vital companion in the journey toward longer, healthier lives. Let's start with the devices many of us already wear: smartwatches and fitness trackers. These aren't just step counters anymore. Today's wearables monitor heart rate variability, sleep cycles, oxygen saturation, and even atrial fibrillation, sometimes detecting issues long before symptoms appear. For Super Agers, these tools act like digital mirrors, reflecting their internal health in real time. Then there's AI, artificial intelligence, which is revolutionizing the way we understand aging. Algorithms can now analyze millions of data points, from medical records to genetic profiles, and predict risks for diseases like dementia, cancer, or heart failure with remarkable accuracy. AI can even detect subtle speech changes or typing patterns that signal early cognitive decline. Enter the era of digital biomarkers. These are invisible clues your body gives off. Things like walking speed, voice tone, or even how your eyes move while reading, all captured by sensors or smartphone cameras. They offer insights into your biological age, not just your calendar age. But technology isn't just passive, it's prescriptive. Thanks to precision medicine, Super Agers are getting treatments and recommendations tailored to their exact biology. Imagine a nutrition plan based on your gut microbiome, or an exercise routine guided by your mitochondrial efficiency, or a drug dosage calibrated to your genetic makeup. That's no longer science fiction. It's the promise of personalized aging strategies. Advanced diagnostic tools now allow early detection of diseases before they take root. Liquid biopsies can find cancer cells in a single drop of blood. Brain imaging, once reserved for elite research labs, is becoming accessible in routine care, helping identify Alzheimer's years before symptoms. Even at home, Super Agers are benefiting from telemedicine, virtual health coaches, and real-time monitoring. An 85-year-old today can video chat with a cardiologist, track their vitals through an app, and adjust medication without ever leaving the house. And this matters because early intervention saves lives. The earlier you catch a problem, the easier it is to treat, or even reverse. But Super Agers don't just use tech passively. They engage with it. They stay curious, open to innovation, and willing to adapt. In many ways, their mindset is just as modern as the tools they use. Technology, when harnessed wisely, becomes a partner in aging. It doesn't just extend lifespan, it extends health span, helping Super Agers not only live longer but live better. The future of aging is digital, and Super Agers are already logged in. Chapter 8. Stay ahead, live long. The power of preventative health. In the world of Super Agers, the secret isn't just treating illness, it's preventing it before it begins. Longevity doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of vigilant care, early action, and a proactive mindset that treats health like a lifelong investment. And at the center of that strategy, prevention. Let's begin with early detection, a cornerstone of modern longevity science. Super Agers don't wait until something feels wrong. They embrace routine screenings, not as a burden, but as a powerful tool. Regular blood work, bone density scans, cognitive assessments, colonoscopies, mammograms. These are not just checkboxes. They're life-saving checkpoints that help catch conditions like cancer, dementia, or heart disease in their silent early stages, when they're still reversible or easily managed. In fact, research shows that early detection can increase survival rates by up to 90% for certain diseases. That's not just added time, it's added quality of life. But Super Agers don't stop at detection, they focus on prevention at the cellular level. A key enemy of healthy aging is inflammation, a silent fire that smolders inside the body, damaging tissues, accelerating aging, and fueling everything from arthritis and diabetes to Alzheimer's disease. Super Agers take action to keep that fire low through anti-inflammatory diets rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, and antioxidants, through regular exercise, which regulates immune response, and through managing stress, because emotional tension can trigger physical inflammation. Then there's oxidative stress, another stealthy saboteur. It's caused by unstable molecules called free radicals, which damage DNA, proteins, and cells over time. Super Agers combat this by increasing their antioxidant defenses. They fuel their bodies with berries, nuts, dark chocolate, green tea, foods proven to neutralize free radicals. They also prioritize quality sleep, which is when the body performs deep cellular repair. And we can't ignore the heart, the engine of super aging. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death worldwide. But Super Agers keep their hearts young through a combination of movement, mindfulness, and metabolic care. They walk, they swim, they dance. Not excessively, but consistently. Even brisk walking 30 minutes a day can cut heart disease risk dramatically. They monitor blood pressure, control cholesterol, watch blood sugar, and they stay emotionally balanced because anger and chronic stress strain the heart more than we realize. But above all, they understand this truth. Small daily choices build a fortress of protection. Prevention isn't a single event, it's a lifestyle, and Super Agers commit to it with the same dedication others give to treatment. They invest early, check in often, and adapt as needed. They don't just avoid disease, they optimize health. That's the real power of prevention. Because aging well doesn't mean avoiding every storm. It means building a ship that can sail through them, strong, steady, and full of life. Chapter 9. Wisdom in Motion. Stories from the Super Agers facts are powerful, but stories, they inspire. Throughout this journey, we've explored the science of super aging. But now it's time to meet the people behind the data. The living proof. The real Super Agers who have not only defied the clock, but reshaped what it means to grow older. Let's begin with Elaine, 88 years old, a retired school principal from Chicago. Every morning, Elaine begins her day with yoga, followed by black coffee and a crossword puzzle. Her memory is razor sharp. She still mentors young teachers and volunteers at her local library. Her secret? Stay curious. When you stop learning, you start aging. Elaine's life reveals one of the clearest patterns among Super Agers: lifelong mental engagement. Her brain, like a muscle, is kept active and resilient through constant use. Next, we meet Samuel, aged 91, a former mechanic from Detroit. He's up at 6 a.m. each day, walking 3 miles before breakfast. His cholesterol is enviable, his reflexes still sharp. But what stands out isn't just his fitness, it's his sense of humor. "I laugh every day," he says, "sometimes at myself. That's how I stay young." From Samuel, we learn about the power of emotional agility, the ability to adapt, laugh, let go, and reframe the tough moments. Then there's Miyako, 85, a painter from Kyoto. She still holds exhibitions, meditates daily, and eats a traditional diet rich in fish, seaweed, and fermented foods. But what defines Miyako is her deep sense of purpose. Art keeps me alive, she tells us. It gives me a reason to wake up and contribute. Purpose, connection, creativity. These are not nice-to-haves. They're essential nutrients for a long life. Each Super Ager has different habits. Some drink green tea, others prefer espresso. Some are marathoners, others prefer gardening. But across every story we hear the same echoes. They move their bodies every day, whether it's dancing, walking, or stretching. They nurture relationships, staying connected to family, friends, and community. They adapt to change, seeing setbacks as chances to grow. And most importantly, they never stop engaging with life. What these interviews reveal is more than inspiration. They are living case studies. They show us what the research can't always capture: the spirit, the resilience, the joy of aging well. And perhaps the greatest lesson? It's never too late. Each of these Super Agers had challenges. Some survived illness, others lost loved ones, but they all made a choice to keep going, to keep growing, and to write their own story of aging. So take heart. These aren't outliers, they're examples. They don't just show us what's possible, they show us what's attainable. If they can do it, so can you. Chapter 10. Longevity in Motion, your daily blueprint for super aging. It's one thing to learn what makes Super Agers thrive, it's another to live it. Now it's time to shift from observation to application, to take the insights, the stories, and the science and turn them into daily action. So let's break it down into 4 powerful pillars: diet, exercise, cognition, and social connection. 1. Eat for the long game, forget fad diets. Super Agers fuel themselves with real, nutrient-dense food. Their plates are vibrant with color: leafy greens, berries, nuts, legumes, olive oil, and fatty fish like salmon. These aren't just healthy, they're protective. Rich in antioxidants and omega-3s, they help reduce inflammation, feed the brain, and slow cellular aging. Try this. Start your day with a protein-rich breakfast. Think eggs, Greek yogurt, or a smoothie with greens and seeds. Cut down on sugar and ultra-processed foods. They're the silent saboteurs of longevity. Practice time-restricted eating, allowing your body to rest and repair during longer fasting windows. 2. Move like you mean it. You don't need to run marathons to be a Super Ager, but you do need to move with intention every single day. The goal: consistency over intensity. Aim for 30 minutes of moderate activity 5 days a week, like brisk walking, cycling, or swimming. Strength training 2 to 3 times a week to preserve muscle mass and bone density. Balance and flexibility routines like yoga or Tai Chi to prevent falls and keep you agile. Motion is medicine, and Super Agers treat it as a non-negotiable. 3. Train your brain. Like a muscle, cognitive aging is not inevitable. Super Agers challenge their minds daily. So how do you train your brain? Learn new things: a language, an instrument, a new skill. The brain thrives on novelty. Read deeply, reflect often. Engagement matters more than volume. Use memory games, puzzles, or apps that challenge pattern recognition and recall. Protect sleep. Deep restorative sleep consolidates memory and clears toxins from the brain. Every new connection you make in your brain is a step toward resilience. 4. Stay social. Stay alive. Loneliness is as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But meaningful relationships? They're life-extending. Super Agers surround themselves with purposeful connection. Your strategy: invest in close relationships, friends, family, community groups. Engage in group activities, volunteering, clubs, or spiritual gatherings. Express gratitude often. It enhances both emotional health and social bonds. And most of all, don't isolate, even when life gets hard. Reach out. Show up. These aren't abstract theories. They're actionable routines backed by decades of science and lived daily by super agers around the world. And it all starts with small steps. A walk, a phone call, a colorful plate, a good book, a deep breath. Because the path to aging well isn't marked by giant leaps. It's carved by steady, intentional habits that compound over time. This is your blueprint, your longevity toolkit. Use it, live it, and become the next super ager in the making. If this journey through super agers inspired you to rethink what's possible at any age, don't stop here. Subscribe to Book Briefs for more life-changing book summaries that turn powerful ideas into action. Like this video if you believe in living fully, not just longer. And drop a comment below. What's one super ager habit you're going to start today? Because at Book Briefs, we don't just read books, we live them. Your next breakthrough could be one chapter away.